Hello, everybody. Mike Arnold here, co-founder, Path Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino, trying to juggle multiple things. We got multiple cameras going on now. We got Tesla earnings. I can switch all the fun things around. Let me know if you're here. Was supposed to start in a couple minutes earlier, just because the earnings came out. Uh, let's see if we have any comments or anything, if anybody is here right now. All right, so earnings came out and let's see, third quarter revenue, 13.76 billion, estimated 13.91 billion. So miss on revenue. Third quarter adjusted earnings per share 1.86 and estimate 1.67, so that was a beat. So they missed on revenue, they beat on earnings per share. Gross margin, they came in at 26.6%, estimated 24.2%. Have a bunch of the other numbers. I'm trying to jump. I'm practicing going between screens here. You can see the after hours price action in here, but this is the summary of their third quarter. If you can see that. So thank you, Ken. They beat and missed, so we're going to have to see. So far, the reaction has been a little bearish on it, and there was no options. We'll jump out to the longer term charts. Hold on one second. Trying to figure out all these camera switching. I'm probably got too complicated for my own good. You can see we've already tested below that. We had this key level 851.37. Pretty interesting. That came down. Look at that 4-hour rotation zone straight down to that area and holding. That's going to be my line in the sand. We start getting a close below that, then I'm going to start watching for the bigger pullback. So far, it's just a pullback to the 4-hour rotation zone. Keep in mind, we still are incredibly overbought. The option volume today was like pathetic. Let me see, is anybody else here? If you're in here with the comments, does this one work then too? I got another screen going now with the options volume. So you can see over here, I don't have a camera set up for this one yet, but you see over here, just at the 900s, just 40, close to 46,000. At the 920s, just 11,000. There was, compared to what we've seen recently, it was just a pretty weak options volume. So, what else do we have? I'm just scrolling through some of my news feed to see if there's anything else. Nothing yet. I mean, they have record profits, but again, it's nothing that it's not getting a super strong reaction so far. We're getting a slight bounce now, but keep in mind that's the line in the sand. Or about I just call it 850. That's coming in right above that 4-hour rotation zone. That's what I'm watching for. We get, again, the close below that, watching for the bigger pullback. Here's the shorter term. I mean, we can go way down. Here's the 3-minute. You had a little spike. You had some selling pressure. It's now bouncing back. If I'm going to start expecting anything positive for price action going in tomorrow, I really need it to close back into, keep this support coming up and closing into the consolidation range. That would mean it tested the downside here. Let me switch. I'm trying to look at multiple screens, and there we go. We got the camera now over here. So that key area is that is about 863.50. Going to keep an area there. If we do even about 860 would be positive. If we start getting some closing and this level holds, then you can see today. Let's just look at the price action from today. We'll come back to the regular the regular after hours extended trading. But we had on this 859.02 spiking just early, down, and then buying, stepping in, and then trying to rally. Pretty choppy. Kept this 860 also on the chart. Pretty much kept the levels on the chart all day long. And just watching that 860. So down below this key support level from yesterday, we had a repeated buying step in, but then it couldn't get any traction. Then, as I said, there was very little options volume today. So you did not have any juice from that. Let me go back to the extended hours. I was just showing you, and then so yeah, it's getting some selling pressure now. Whenever we have these bounces into this 860 area are being sold. You have those little short-term rotation zone breaking down. But again, the route, it's getting sold up in here. But my key, again, for people who are just joining us now, we have 851 as the key level that I'm keying off of for a close. If we start getting the close below there, then you can see here we'd start moving below the 4-hour rotation zone, at least on the extended period. So I'm just keeping an eye on this also, 851. So that's the extended. This is the regular session, but that's what I'm going to be watching for, the extended. And then if we do get that close below that 851 level, we are into just the regular session rotation zone. Then I'm going to be watching for the gap fill and then a possible retracement down to about 831.50, which is key support. So far, it's still holding up. So then jump back to the extended, still holding up, still getting some selling pressure again. I want to see the move above 863.50. And then if we get above there, my next target is 868.18, then 874.50, and then everything else pretty much stays the same. So, any questions, anything else going on? I'm just checking all my screens. Now I'm looking at my news feed again. Regulatory credits, 279 million, 279 million, down 30% year over year. So I'm just going through reading some stuff also. Not seeing any questions right now. I hope this is streaming okay. Could people let me know if it is streaming okay? Let's see here. All right. Still, it's trying to hold up. I mean, again, if we can get above this 863.50, that's going to be key. Still have some time. Then we still have the call going up. I don't know how long I'm going to stream for if I'm not seeing any questions or anything else. There's going to be the earnings call later, and that will trigger another round of price action. Pretty much now it's gone quiet. What would be an indicator it was going to sell off tomorrow? If I start seeing, again, closing either later tonight or pre-market tomorrow, if I start seeing price action below 851, that is good. Then I'll start watching for the bigger pullback. Let me add some of these questions in. Switch cameras while I am answering questions. There we go. Connor, so that's again my line in the sand, 851.37. It's perfect. We're just waiting. Let me go through these. Yeah, we're doing everything live. Just going through this again. If you've just joined us, so far they let me recap stuff. Third quarter revenue missed, so 13.76 billion, estimated 13.91 billion, but they beat on earnings per share 186 versus 167. Gross margin came in 26.6%, estimated 24.2. Here's a breakdown of some of the numbers. Let me roll this back onto the screen. You can see that is 900 for tomorrow. Unless it really gets some traction now, I mean, anything's possible if you get the options. I had the options up earlier. Let me go back there real quick. Here, that was a question. Is 900 tomorrow too much to ask for? I need to see some stronger price action. If we can't get a serious closing at least above 868, let me take this back off. I'll show you what I'm watching for today. The overhead resistance 868. If I can't get either in post market tonight or pre market tomorrow closing above 868, then I'm more in neutral mode. And unless we have a huge option push tomorrow, I don't see it right now. Here's the options today. Again, I showed this earlier. We only had 46,000 going off the 900s. Still, you have a decent open interest. I mean, anything above close to 25,000 for a Tesla is pretty good. You have on the put side, uh, not a lot of open interest on the 900s. Where's the open interest sitting for the weeklies? The open interest is all the way. You still have a fair amount of those 800s open interest. So let me switch back. There we go. Just taking a look at the price action again. It's this line right here. That's my first sign that we're starting to get some traction based off this earnings report. So far, there's been some dip buying, but on every rally attempt you can see here in this area, it's getting sold. So I want to see it get at least back into the consolidation area today. If we look at the daily, let's just take a bigger picture look. There we go. Let me take a bigger picture look. I mean, you see the ramp up. You see the tear that it's been on. It's still, I mean, this doesn't even pull back to the daily rotation zone or filled this gap. But that 851, why that's so key is because you get below there, we have the gap magnet, then you still have the rising rotation zone and the wedge. So that's where we're looking. Here's the rotation zone with after hours data coming in here, and it traded back there. And I don't love the rotation zone using after hours data, but we already had that 851 level. If you take off and just put on the regular rotation zone, it's now closer to 857, which hasn't even been hit. So this is still holding up. I just want to see some of this price action kick in higher and it stays above this consolidation ledge. See here on that 4 hour, we've closed, and if we can sit above there, then that's much stronger. And you can see how it's toying with that area, but it still can't get into that traction. It's starting to level out right now. Again, anybody just joining, 863.50 is my first level. Let's get some comments, some reactions in here. Any thoughts from anybody else? Any questions? Let me switch back since I can look at the questions now. Feel like I'm just talking to ramble on. Let me check the news feed again. So Tesla, we reached an operating margin of 14.6%, exceeding our medium-term guidance. This level of profitability was achieved while ASP decreased by 6% year over year and third quarter due to continued mix shift towards lower price vehicles, which we've seen with even the delivery numbers on the S and X have been going down, but the 3 and the Y, which are the lower price vehicles, have been going up. Uh, Not seeing much else. It's toying with the levels again. Let's see. So no major surprise. Nope. No, Josh. No major surprise in earnings. I mean, they beat and missed on some stuff. They took a Bitcoin impairment charge also. So that was from the negative side. Have you ever lost everything, trade? Have I ever lost everything? No. I've taken my hard knocks, especially when I was starting out as an options market maker, made some decently bad mistakes, but I've never lost everything. I've taken bad hits until I found really what uh, what my footing was. I think everybody needs to. I'll answer some questions too while we're waiting to see if there's well while we're waiting to see if anything else pops. Let's see. Add to broadcast. But you don't think that even if it runs up, it'll just have losing traction because there's a lot of run up with just momentum expectation from people going into the announcement. It needs now a lot of juice. Even if it does run up, it needs a lot of juice. Why I can't completely discredit Tesla is because if you get the juice kicking like tomorrow on a Friday with the weekly options, this thing anything's possible. But right now, it's I'm not expecting much out of it until we get above the key levels. That's why it's hard. Whenever I've gotten overly bearish on Tesla, it can still rip your face off. Now, from a daily perspective, I mean, it is. It's very overbought. Even if it runs up now and ekes out into some of these higher levels we have identified, we could be setting up for a divergence. So the upside to me is capped at this time. It had its moments, it had its opportunity. Now with earnings out of the way, we'll see the devils in the details once the 10Q drops. They have a little bit of time before they can drop the 10Q. So that will be the next major thing. But you have deliveries out of the way, you have earnings out of the way. It's ramped up. Even if it now starts running up overall, I think that it's going to lose some steam. Now, how do we look at this from a technical point of view? Well, so far from a daily perspective, we are drifting sideways. Okay, this is still a sideways drift. We have not returned to the rotation zone. The big thing would be if we get that move below 851.37, then let me switch I was looking at my other. I sometimes forget to switch cameras, but then we come down, and then I'm watching that rising rotation zone. So again, below 851, then I'm watching how it will react to the gap fill and the rising daily rotation zone. We get a close below the daily rotation zone, then I will start watching for a return to some of the lower support levels, which is now, I mean, it's come so far that the next lower support level is even in front of 800s. So that's above all this prior resistance consolidation. Let's check in on shorter term again. Here we go. I mean, it's still holding up pretty well. It's trying to make a run at holding things up. Just seeing if there's anything new. Yeah, I was actually sort here. Matches what you said about low percentage of web patterns actually hitting the top. That's why that traditional wedge. I was actually just from a pure technical analysis, not nothing to do with Tesla. I actually wanted to see one I haven't seen one in years hit the top. I haven't seen one, so I was actually excited from a technical analysis perspective to see if that would hit. I'm a technical sort of technical analysis nerd in that way. Here we go. What's your upside resistance level? You have downside support 831, below 851. My upside resistance, those levels are still the same since we haven't eked out anything. My major level is this 890, again 890 to 8, and then 897. Major, I guess my minor would be 890. My major where is right around this 900, 897 to 900, because it's made. Let's take a look at that weekly. Again, it's come full circle back to test the highs back from the end of January and has not been able to regain those highs even with the earnings report. So that's where it's on a rally. If we do get that pop tomorrow, that's going to be very key resistance because you have the news now out of the way. What's the old adage? Buy the rumor, sell the fact, or sell the news when it actually comes out. So there's going to be some selling pressure, especially coming in here with all the news out of the way. I'm just really looking at a short-term basis to see if we'll get a possible, short-term pop going into the end of the week, and if we can still reach out and hit those 890s and 900s. But that's at least my major short-term overhead resistance is right up there. If we had gotten above there, the next major levels were 945, then 992 to 1007. But again, unless we see a lot of options, this is really run. So if we start to see this kind of options again, either tomorrow and or next week, I'll have to revise that. But until we get that, I'm just not seeing. I'm seeing the upside now capped at least, and by capped I don't mean it can't get above today's high. I mean even if it gets above today's high, it's gonna have a lot of work to do to get through those 900s now. All right, so back above that 863.50 area. Let's see if it can sustain that. Is it sideways? Hold on one second. Let me. Is this sideways aftermarket move a bad sign for pre-market dip tomorrow morning? Is the fact that it didn't dip on the news a good sign? Again, if it can sustain above 863.50 even in the morning, then it's a good sign that all this selling pressure, a lot of people, we had some dip buying, but there's a lot of selling pressure in here. You can see all these wicks, and now it's getting above there. So as long as it remains in this consolidation phase, then it's a decent sign that, I will go into tomorrow more of a neutral with a slight upward bias because we've come down. Here's the 4-hour rotation zone, and this is with regular market hours only, 857. So it's holding that. And we had this low today, or 857.42 was the low today, right in line with that 4-hour. If we start seeing in the morning, that's why if it starts dipping down and then we get a key close first below the rotation zone and this is without the extended data on it, then I'll start watching for that pullback to 851. If that breaks, then then it's over for the time being for me. But as long as it holds up here, it's more, hey, we've pulled back, we've tested the 4-hour rotation zone, and still going to watch for that rotation back up. Because we could rotate back up, retest this 877.86 level. even get slightly above there and then form a potential double tops theoretically, or it could really get some juice and then we could top out at that 890 to 900 and then reevaluate up there. This is why a lot of times I will trail, I'll take something off at key levels, but then I get out of most of my positions by trailing a stop, by using key levels and trailing a stop. Also, another thing that I do is, trade around a core position, which I do have a video up. It's still relevant. It doesn't matter that we're not trading in the same area. I think I used Tesla as an example. But, where you can trade around a core position and add on pullbacks and then on rallies, you start getting out of some positions and you use the concepts of the rotation zone to get back in and out. So you can watch that. It's on the channel. Just search for, I think it's like how I trade around a core position or trading around a core position. Let's go back and just see what's going on. Let me take a look also at the news. I'm just reading some of the stuff now. The conference call's going on now. We're making progress in the industrialization of Cybertruck, which is currently planned for Austin production subsequent to Model Y. Tesla's held 1.26 billion in digital assets. It hasn't sold any, according to the conference call. And now let's see. It's still toying with this key, this area. So that's what we'll just keep watching for. Again, 860, 350. Any other questions? Otherwise, I can just end this now because there's not much that's going to change with the levels. It's just going to be overall watching the price action and see how it ends tonight and then starts pre-market tomorrow. If I don't see any questions, anything else, we'll call it a day. And I will start looking at the other market overview stuff for the S&P, NASDAQ, and Dow. Hope you're all watching that too. I'm not seeing anything else, so I'm going to call it a day. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. If you have any thoughts or how we want to handle these in the future, let me know. Bye for now.